Today, Prince Harry's made a surprise visit to the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. Harry, who served 10 years in the British Army, visited the city at the invitation of the Ukrainian government. He's expected to meet 200 veterans as well as the Ukrainian Prime Minister, and will reportedly outline plans to help rehabilitate those wounded in the war. He previously visited the country in April. Well, what do you think of this?
If he wishes to go to Ukraine, then good luck to him. I mean, I think, this questioning as to what he should do and what he shouldn't do, I think is a nonsense. If he wishes to do this, this is something over which he genuinely has experience and knowledge. And also, I think we are beginning to see a slight softening in, the approach to him or otherwise. I think there are things that he can usefully do, either for this nation or indeed for himself.
But the Royals have got
let him get on with it.
The Royals have got serious problems in the polls.
I just want to hug James.
For what?
He said word for word what I would have said.
You don't
Thank
care.
you.
You don't care either. You don't care either.
No, I
didn't
do
say I didn't care.
He didn't
Well, you just
say
said them too, I don't care. Yeah,
No, he
No, I
didn't
didn't
say
say-
that.
I
He
didn't
said
say
he's...
that.
Why not? Why shouldn't he do it?
Well,
gay.
yeah.
And, this hounding of the man.
No, but I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying polling shows the monarchy is in trouble in this country.
I don't care about
and
monarchy.
I'm thinking
I'm
that
just
they
saying,
need Harry.
I agree with James.
Do they not need Harry?
This is a big moment. I agree with James.
Okay, well, that's...
I
now
agree
you're
with
happier.
James.
Now you're happier.
Because she was here with me.
Of course.
I make everyone happy, Joe.
Well, let's see if we can change that after the break. We're going...
What a credit. It is rare in the landscape of British commentary, where the air is so often thick with bitterness, envy and royal propaganda, that a voice which has spent years throwing darts at Prince Harry pauses for even a moment and admits the undeniable. That Harry's work, his commitment, his knowledge, his courage and his instinct for service are real, useful and desperately needed. That moment arrived when James Maxx, a man who has long performed the role of critic, begrudgingly broke his usual pattern and conceded that Prince Harry's mission to Ukraine was not only justified, but marked by the depth of personal experience that very few people in positions of influence could ever claim to possess. For once, Max's words cut through the noise of hatred, and even though they dripped with the reluctance of someone who has built his career on sneering, they landed like a revelation. Prince Harry is doing something that matters. Not a ribbon cutting, not a photo op, not a hollow ceremonial wave, but something tangible, informed and brave, something that speaks to who he truly is. Max could barely disguise his discomfort at acknowledging this truth, because the currency of the British media has for too long been built on diminishing Harry. Yet against his instincts, he spoke a recognition that no smear, no insult and no tabloid narrative could erase. Prince Harry knows what he is doing. His work for Ukraine is not a PR stunt. It is not a hollow headline grab. It is the extension of a life forged in service, shaped by military duty, scarred by loss, but refined by compassion. And for once, a hater admitted it. That alone was a kind of victory. Meanwhile, across another corner of the media landscape, Jeremy Vine could not stop himself from doing what he always does, dragging every conversation about Prince Harry back to the poisoned well of monarchy. To Vine, Harry is not a man in his own right, not a leader with his own platform, not a husband, father, veteran and activist, with causes that stretch far beyond gilded walls. To Vine, Harry is a prescription pill that the monarchy desperately needs to swallow in order to appear healthy again. Vine's language betrayed not admiration, but desperation. He seemed unable to comprehend that Harry, in Ukraine, in Invictus, in mental health advocacy, in Travelist, and in his new independent life, has stepped entirely beyond the monarchy's reach. He is not an extension of an institution. He is his own force. Yet Vine's words clung to the fantasy that somehow, if only Harry could be dragged back, the monarchy might be restored. But what Vine does not see is that Harry has already exposed the monarchy for what it is: hollow, needy, incapable of relevance without clinging to the very sun it once drove away. This contrast, between Max's reluctant acknowledgement and Vine's desperate denial, is a portrait of the age we are in. It is the collision between truth and fantasy, reality and illusion. On one side stands Harry, in real places with real people, offering real service. In Ukraine, where soldiers and families endure wounds both visible and unseen, Harry's presence is not ceremonial, but empathetic. He knows what it means to wear a uniform, to carry the weight of war, to live with the aftershocks of trauma. His words to Ukrainian wives and mothers, praising them for keeping returning soldiers on the straight and narrow, were not scripted platitudes, but lived recognition. He has been on that front line of emotion, watching brothers in arms return broken, and he has witnessed firsthand the strength of women who hold communities together in the rubble of conflict. His respect is not academic. It is earned, it is real, it is rooted in his past and his present. And on the other side stand men like Vine, whose only concern is how to recycle Harry back into the machinery of monarchy, as though his only value lies in propping up a crumbling institution. That vision of Harry, trapped, diminished, performing ceremonial irrelevance, is precisely what Harry walked away from, and it is why his current work shines so brightly. The institution would have had him cutting ribbons, parroting lines, and pretending to be useful, while never being allowed to actually be useful. Outside the institution, he has become one of the most useful figures of his generation. That irony burns the monarchy's defenders more than anything. The world can see the difference. When Harry arrives in Ukraine, it is not the flashbulbs of paparazzi that follow him, but the warmth of soldiers, mothers, and children who recognize in him a man who has walked a path closer to theirs than any royal in modern memory. He is not there for pomp, but for presence, not for show, but for solidarity. In him, they see someone who understands the weight of sacrifice. That is why his words resonate, because they are not read from a script handed down by palace courtiers, but spoken from the marrow of his own experience. James Maxx's reluctant praise therefore becomes a kind of confirmation. If even a man who has spent years mocking Harry cannot ignore the value of what he is doing, then the truth has become too large to deny. It spills over the barriers of hostility. It seeps through the cracks of prejudice. It forces recognition even from the unwilling. And that, in its own way, is a kind of poetic justice. Contrast that with Vine, and what emerges is the desperation of the old guard, those who cling to monarchy as if it were a lifeboat, when in reality it is a sinking ship. Vine's obsession with dragging Harry back to take the monarchy pills is not about Harry at all. It is about the monarchy's need. Because without Harry, the institution is a husk. William is distant and stiff. Kate is absent and performative. Charles is weakened by age and illness. Camilla inspires no affection, and the younger royals are still children. The monarchy's oxygen supply has always been Harry, his charisma, his relatability, his humanity. And when he left, that oxygen was cut off. Vine's fantasy is therefore less about Harry's well-being and more about plugging life support back into an institution that can no longer breathe on its own. But the beauty of this moment is that Harry does not need them. He never did. He is proving with each step, with each mission, with each act of service, that his legacy will not be measured in ceremonial milestones, but in real-world change. Invictus is thriving. Travelist is reshaping travel. His mental health advocacy has changed conversations around the world. His work in Ukraine echoes with authenticity. These are not the achievements of a man trapped in an outdated system. These are the triumphs of a man liberated from it. And liberation, in Harry's case, has led to love. Love for his wife, Meghan, with whom he has built a partnership of mutual respect and shared vision. Love for his children, Archie and Lilibet, whom he is raising with intention, ensuring they inherit not trauma, but freedom. Love for communities across the globe, where he has offered his voice, his presence, and his compassion. This love radiates through everything he does, and it is why the world connects with him in a way the monarchy could never manufacture. When history remembers these years, it will not recall Vine's whimpering pleas for Harry to come back to the gilded cage. It will not celebrate those who spent their breath demanding Harry shrink himself back into a role that suffocated him. History will remember Harry's steps into Ukraine, his words to mothers and wives, his unwavering support for veterans, his courage to break free, his ability to transform pain into service, and his refusal to let an institution define his worth. In this light, James Maxx's reluctant praise becomes a turning point, however small. It is the moment when even the skeptics had to nod, however begrudgingly, and admit Prince Harry is doing something that matters. And Vine's obsession, by contrast, becomes a relic of an old mindset, a reminder of how far behind some commentators remain. They still cannot see what the world has already recognized, that Harry has outgrown the crown. He is not defined by it, nor limited by it. He is free. and in that freedom he is more royal than the royals themselves. The truth is this: Prince Harry does not need the monarchy. The monarchy needs Prince Harry, but the tragedy for them and the triumph for him is that he will never return to be their crutch. His life is bigger now, richer, more meaningful than their walls could contain. And for that, the world cheers him on with love, with respect, and with admiration that no critic, no tabloid, and no institution can erase. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like and put a comment. Bye-bye, see you then in our next episode.